As a self-sabotage coach, I get to observe some pretty interesting behaviors when I'm working with clients. And there's this very interesting behavior I came across. I was counseling a couple, and when you do couples counseling, you have to assess the behavior of both the people that you're working with if they're having issues. And of course, if people are coming to me, they're having issues that need remedy. And although this issue wasn't directly involved with this couple's crisis that they were having, it was very interesting nonetheless, and she gave me permission to share. So as I was observing the patterns of behavior with both people in the partnership, it was very interesting to find that this lady had a very repetitive pattern in her behavior. And of course, as a self-sabotage coach, that's what we're looking for. We're looking for repetitive behaviors that are detrimental to that person's life or to the strength of the partnership if we're doing couples counseling. So I came across this one lady, and she was doing things that weren't really hurting her, but they did fall in the category. These things made no sense whatsoever. So every time she would say, leave her mother's house to drive away, she would always leave something at the home, and it became a pattern that was so obvious. There wasn't any time in recent memory where this lady drove away from her parents' house and didn't leave something that she had to return to get, or if she kept driving, it would just guarantee that she would have to return to pick up the item that was left there. Now, this was a pattern on its own, but also when she would go shopping, she would do grocery shopping or she would do clothing shopping, and her partner would say, there's some patterns there, because every time she'd leave a clothing store or she'd leave a grocery store, she had to run back in, or she would, sort of be down on herself that she missed this or that, or she should have bought this or that. There was always a buyer's remorse where she had to either go back and get the product at another time, or she had to run back in the store immediately to pick up something that she forgot or something that she decided she wanted, even though the items that she wanted or said she needed after, they were in her hands at the time. So the pattern for a self-sabotage coach there is basically you have a person that is doing some very illogical things, and it's not one time, it's many times. And it's over and over and over again. So as a coach, we have to bring the behavior to the surface and name it, and so that the client and her partner potentially can recognize it and talk about it. So we had to give it the title of the turnaround. We had to give it the title of the turnaround so that the person engaging in this illogical behavior, which is the lady, the female in this relationship, she has to consciously recognize it. And if you don't name it, it's hard to recognize. And it's important for the partner, the man as well, to say, honey, you're doing the turnaround again. You got to give it a name in order to address it. And this brings it from the unconscious or the subconscious up to the conscious realm, where people can start to discuss and recognize it and view it and observe it and see it. That's very, very important for breaking illogical behavior. And then you have to guess, and it's always an educated guess based on experience and education and research and knowledge. But basically, because our bodies are safety mechanisms, they're just hardwired cellular safety mechanisms. We're always looking for safety. We can assume the behavior revolves around safety in most cases. So if we fold in that potentially the lady in question was having a hard time leaving her parents' house or her mother's house and always wanting to return. We can just assume that sometime in that lady's early upbringing, she became very traumatized, leaving the home, leaving places of security and traveling out into the world where it was less secure. So we had to really work on the security aspect, the safety aspect, and do some reprogramming protocols so this female's subconscious and these old programs could get recognized, whittled down, changed, and modified so she would understand, she can always return to her mom's house. She can return to her parents' house. She doesn't have to leave there something on purpose. She doesn't have to leave an object in order to return. And she's perfectly safe leaving whatever spot she's in, which could be a grocery store. And that's the way the subconscious works. Where you are is something familiar, something comfortable, registers as safe. And then when you go and change where you are, change your patterns, change your behaviors, it registers as unsafe in some situations, sometimes in many situations. And this was probably what was going on inside her subconscious, is that she would get comfortable in one spot and then she was just like too afraid to leave that spot. It doesn't make any sense, but don't forget, the subconscious makes no sense. It just wants everything to be the same. It doesn't like change. It likes what's familiar, what's comfortable. And yeah, the grocery store could become familiar and comfortable in only minutes compared to leaving the grocery store, and the person would be afraid to leave, and that's sort of how this programming goes. So that's the benefit of working with people as a self-sabotage coach. I have programs coming up in probably 2 months to 2.5 months that can help couples and individuals address their illogical and irrational behavior. It can save individuals a lot of pain. It can save couples a lot of pain. And people on my email list, of course, get alerted to when these programs start. If you're not on my email list, you can email my team at info@jchristoff.com. That's a single initial J. Christoph is spelled Christ with an OFF on the end. We'll put you on the email list and keep you up to date when the programs roll out and give you some free education regardless if you join a program or not. This is Jason Christoph signing off. Thank you for listening.